The road you and I drive every day did not arrive fully formed. It was negotiated into existence, argued over in conference rooms, proved in wind tunnels and crash labs, sometimes forced by embarrassing recalls, sometimes unlocked by one generous decision. Today we're taking a drive through 13 choices that quietly changed everything. Some were brave, some were overdue. All of them shaped the cars, the rules, and the habits we live with now. Buckle up. We're starting with the one safety feature that asks for nothing flashy, just the humility to share. Volvo hired an aeronautical engineer named Niels Bolin. He designed the modern 3-point seatbelt, the belt that crosses your shoulder and your lap in one motion. It worked. It was simple. It could save people who would never meet him. Volvo could have locked that advantage behind a patent wall. Instead, the company opened the patent and let everybody copy it. That single choice did two things. First, it set the expectation that a car protects you even before anything goes wrong. Second, it reminded the industry loudly that some wins are bigger than market share. Millions of lives have been changed by that one latch and click. Belts keep you from becoming the crumple zone. Our next decision made the car the crumple zone on purpose. For a long time, safe meant rigid. Then, engineers measured what really happens in a crash. Energy has to go somewhere. Crumple zones send that energy into metal, not bone. The decision was counterintuitive at the time. Design parts of the car to collapse in a controlled way. Frames became smarter. Load paths moved around the cabin. You can see it in every modern crash test where the passenger cell stays intact and the nose looks like an accordion. It is not an accident. It's a promise written into the steel. We made collisions more survivable. Now we deal with the invisible exhaust that stayed behind. Cities were choking. Regulators pushed. Engineers answered with catalytic converters, little metal honeycombs that turn unpleasant chemistry into something cleaner. That required a second decision: remove lead from gasoline, because lead destroys the catalyst. The move wasn't romantic. It was plumbing and chemistry. But it changed the air, the health of neighborhoods near highways, and the expectations we have for what a car may do to the people who never bought it. Once cars gained lungs and ethics, they also gained computers. And computers needed a common language. If you've ever watched a mechanic plug a little black connector into your car and read its feelings, think OBD-II. Before it, diagnostics were a patchwork. After it, every new light-duty vehicle in the US spoke a standard language. The decision didn't just help repairs. It enabled smog checks. It let apps read fuel trims and misfires. It made check engine a conversation, not a mystery. Coming up, airbags that arrived like a punchline, a tiny third brake light that quietly paid for itself, and the computer trick that keeps your car from swapping paint with physics. Airbags started as options. Then the evidence and the rules caught up. By the late 1990 seconds, front airbags were standard in new American cars. It felt like an overnight change, but it was really the result of years of data, lawsuits, and redesigns to keep kids safe as well as adults. Airbags didn't replace seatbelts, they joined them. 2 layers, 1 crash, a better outcome. When software met brakes, the next decision stopped accidents before drivers knew they had begun. First came ABS anti-lock braking to keep wheels from skidding so you can still steer. Automakers adopted it widely because it worked on wet roads and during panic stops. Then came electronic stability control. ESC senses when the car is about to spin and gently applies brakes to individual wheels to keep the car pointed where the driver meant to go. The big decision. Regulators required ESC on new passenger vehicles in the US starting in the 2010. Result: crashes you'll never even know you avoided. Not every hero is a computer. Sometimes it's a tiny lamp placed exactly where a following driver will notice it. It's called the center high-mounted stop lamp. You call it the third brake light. It sits up high, in the line of sight of the driver behind you. Studies showed a real drop in rear-end crashes when it became standard. It's small, cheap, and boring, exactly the sort of idea that scales to millions of cars and pays back every single day. Next up, the smallest passengers in the car and the anchors that made their seats part of the structure. Parents read the manual, then the other manual, then they guessed. Before latch anchors, installing a child seat could feel like a riddle. The decision to put standard lower anchors and top tethers into new vehicles did 3 things. It reduced installation errors, it made switching seats between cars possible without a weekend plan, and it tied child safety directly into the vehicle structure. Fewer excuses, better outcomes. From inside the cabin to the world behind the bumper, another blind spot was waiting for a simple fix. Driveways are where many terrible stories start. The decision to require rear-view cameras on new vehicles made reversing a visual task, not a guess. At first, it felt like a luxury feature. Then it became normal, and now you wonder how people backed into parking spaces without it. The true power of this decision is not the camera itself, it's the expectation that the most dangerous direction a car moves should not be a mystery. Tires that changed how cars feel, layouts that changed who could drive well in the snow, and a charging plug war you're living through right now. Bias-ply tires were tough, but they squirmed and wore quickly. Radial tires with cords pointing out from the center rolled with less resistance, gripped better, and lasted longer. The decision to switch, first in Europe and then across the American market, did not come from a single law. It came from testing, fuel prices, racing, and the quiet judgment of millions of drivers who liked how radials felt at highway speed. Every modern car is tuned around them. Every modern road expects them. The next decision wasn't round at all. It was a layout puzzle that changed the inside of the car. Put the engine and the driven wheels up front. Package the transmission sideways. Move the floor lower. Suddenly, your compact car had more interior room, better traction in the rain, and a flat cargo area in back. The choice to go front-wheel drive at scale, especially in the 1,980 seconds, wasn't just about fuel economy. It was about making small cars feel grown up. You lost a bit of tail-out drama. You gained packaging, predictability, and the basic feel of the everyday commute for the next 4 decades. To power all of this, cars needed better electricity. 6 volts wasn't going to cut it anymore. Early cars ran on 6-volt electrical systems. They worked barely. As starters got stronger and accessories multiplied, automakers moved to 12 volts. It sounds like paperwork. It isn't. Doubling the system voltage cut the current in half for the same power, which meant lighter wiring, more reliable starting, brighter lights, and the path to modern electronics. If you've ever jumped a friend's car without melting a cable, thank a decision from the middle of the last century. And now the newest decision on our list, the one still being argued in parking lots and press releases. Gas cars agreed on a nozzle a long time ago. Electric cars did not. For years, we had competing plugs and networks. Then major automakers began adopting a common fast-charging connector across North America and opening access to larger networks. It isn't a law in the way seatbelts are a law. It's a market decision that behaves like a standard. For drivers, it means shorter road trip spreadsheets and a future where "can I charge there?" becomes "of course." Like seatbelts in 1959, the winning move might be the one that works for everyone, including the competition. If you look back over these 13 choices, a pattern shows up. We did not just add features. We changed behavior. Seatbelts taught us to click before we go. Crumple zones taught designers to let the car lose on purpose so the people can win. Catalyst taught us that the air outside your car is part of the product. OBD-II made mechanics translators. Airbags and ESC teamed up so a mistake is no longer a verdict. A small brake light, a pair of anchors, and a camera took away easy ways to fail. Tires and layouts made normal drivers better drivers. 12 volts, then a shared charging plug turned "does it work?" into "will it work everywhere?" None of these decisions felt inevitable when they were new. They were argued, doubted, tested, and then copied. That's how the road gets better. One click, one lamp, one connector at a time. If you learned something you'll use, tell me which decision surprised you most and which one you would add to the list. And on your next drive, glance up at that little third brake light and smile. The most boring ideas are sometimes the ones that save the most people. See you next time. We're not done changing the road.